Have you ever stopped to think that the origin of all the evil in the world didn't begin on Earth? Not in ancient wars, nor in human decisions. It all started in the most unexpected place. Heaven, the perfect environment, where everything was peace, light, and harmony. But then, something shattered that order. Something invisible, silent, and devastating. And so, two inevitable questions arise. How could rebellion emerge in a place where only perfection existed? And even more, where did evil come from if everything God created was good? The answer is unsettling but clear. Even amidst perfection, God granted freedom. And with it came the possibility of choice. Evil wasn't created, it was born from the pride of a perfect creature who desired the impossible, to be like the Creator. That being was Lucifer, known as the bearer of light. He wasn't an ordinary angel. His beauty was unmatched, his wisdom admired, his role in heaven noble and respected. He was among those closest to God. He walked among the angels with radiance and authority. But over time, the brilliance of his mission gave way to the reflection of vanity. Lucifer began to look at himself with fascination, and at God with envy. In the silence of his heart, the first rebellious thought in history was born. It wasn't spoken aloud, not at first. It was a hidden, poisonous thought. What if I were worshipped like him? And so began the greatest distortion of all time. Lucifer, who once reflected God's light, now wanted to be its very source. But he didn't rebel alone. And that's exactly where the real battle begins. When Lucifer allowed pride to dominate his thoughts, he began to act with cunning. He didn't present himself as a rebel right away. Instead, he sowed doubts, questioned divine decisions, and suggested that perhaps there was a better way to govern heaven. This is important to understand. The celestial war didn't begin with shouts or violence. It started with arguments, with distorted ideas disguised as logic. Lucifer used his influence to spread discontent among the angels. Subtly, he began to divide opinions, testing the loyalty of his celestial companions. Some angels were confused. After all, this was a respected being, an admired leader. If he had doubts, maybe it was worth listening. Others, however, stood firm, fully trusting in the justice and wisdom of the Creator. And meanwhile, God didn't halt the process with force. He didn't silence Lucifer by coercion, nor did he force the angels to follow him. Because God's throne is sustained by something greater than authority: trust, freedom, and love. Christ, identified in Scripture as Michael, rose in defense of the truth, not with imposition, but with clarity. He explained, warned, and called for reason. But Lucifer had crossed the point of no return. He no longer wanted to serve. He wanted to be served. Over time, his ambition became public. His speech was no longer just subtle. It was defiant. He openly declared that God's law was unjust, that divine governance restricted true freedom, and with that, he gathered a vast number of followers. The Bible states that a third of the angels were swept away with him, Revelation 12:4. Heaven, once a place of unity, was now divided. Then came the decisive moment. There was no room left for neutrality. Every celestial being had to choose a side. And when all arguments were presented, when the truth was fully revealed, the battle broke out. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. Revelation 12:7. This was the first war in existence, not for control of territories, but for the hearts of created beings. On one side, Michael represented loyalty to the Creator. On the other, Lucifer, now called the dragon, a symbol of opposition and arrogance. The struggle was intense, but the outcome was already determined. The tension had reached its peak. Heaven, once defined by perfect harmony, had become the stage for an unprecedented division. On one side, Michael and the angels loyal to God's throne. On the other, the dragon, Lucifer, with his multitude of followers. There was no turning back. And there was war in heaven. Revelation 12:7. These words don't describe a war as we know it, with weapons or physical destruction. It was a clash of ideas, of loyalty, of eternal principles. God's truth against the lie born from a creature's pride. No matter how hard the dragon tried to resist, he and his allies could not prevail. Their cause was unjust, their arguments flawed, their rebellion unsustainable in the face of divine clarity and justice. Then the sentence was carried out. Lucifer and his angels were cast out of heaven. They lost their position, their glory, and the right to remain in God's presence. The Bible is clear, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. Revelation 12:8. The scene is one of pure justice, not because God arbitrarily rejected them, but because they chose to separate themselves from Him. And the great dragon was cast out, that ancient serpent, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Revelation 12:9. Notice the titles used: dragon, serpent, devil, Satan. Each name reveals an aspect of his new identity. Dragon representing fury and opposition. Serpent referring to cunning and deception. Devil meaning accuser. Satan meaning adversary. These names are not merely symbolic. They reveal the kind of being Lucifer became when he rejected the light. What was once light became darkness. What was glory turned to ruin. And now, exiled, he carried with him not only his own fall, but the seed of a universal conflict that would unfold beyond the gates of heaven. The rebellion was contained, but not yet concluded. The echoes of this battle would resonate far beyond the celestial walls. The expulsion of Lucifer and his angels marked a turning point in heaven. The rebellion was exposed, God's justice confirmed. But the entire universe had now witnessed the cost of freedom. God could have ended the revolt before it even began. He could have eliminated Lucifer at the first sign of insubordination. But what would that have revealed? If the Creator had destroyed the first rebel without allowing the facts to unfold, the universe might have served him out of fear, not love. That's why God allowed the rebellion to reach its peak. He let the angels see for themselves how far Lucifer's ambition would go. And the result was clear. A lie cannot sustain life. Pride destroys, and disconnection from the Creator brings ruin. In the book, The Story of Redemption, Ellen G. White states that God gave enough time for everyone to understand the nature of the rebellion. There was no rush. There was a purpose to show that divine governance is just, transparent, and based on freedom of choice. No angel was forced to choose a side. The decision was personal. Each celestial being had the opportunity to reflect, to listen, to decide. And when the choice was made, the separation became inevitable. Lucifer not only disconnected from God, he dragged millions of angels with him, angels who once sang praises to the Creator. And then, silence. Heaven was cleansed of rebellion, but the pain lingered. The longing for those who were lost, the wound of a war that should never have existed. God didn't win by force. He won by truth. And by allowing everything to be exposed, He showed the universe that His character needs no coercion, threats, or manipulation. He rules by love, a love that respects even those who choose to turn their backs. Peace was restored in heaven, but far away. On a small blue planet, the stage was being set for the next phase of this story. Now you know the behind the scenes of the greatest celestial revolt of all time. But what now? If Lucifer was cast out, what did he do next? How did his plans continue outside of heaven? And most importantly, who was the first target of his fury after the fall? These questions will surprise you, and the answers reveal a crucial part of our own story. In the next video, we'll dive into Satan's first steps after his fall and discover how he turned Earth into a battleground of good versus evil. So, if you want to understand why the world is the way it is, and what this has to do with you, subscribe now and hit the bell. You won't want to miss this continuation. And while you're here, give this video a like, share it with someone who needs to know this truth, and comment below what impacted you the most in this episode.